Coverage in New York with Jill Brown, and Jeff Morrow reports from Washington, D.C. This is a special edition of Weatherscope this afternoon. Stay with us.
This is a special edition of Weatherscope with the latest winter storm update.
Well, this is definitely one for the record books now. Good evening, Bill Keneally with you in the Weather Channel Forecast Center. Catastrophic, crippling snows continue in Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, and New York City. Philadelphia now, a new 24-hour snowfall record, 22.5 inches. It's still coming down at about 2 to 3 inches per hour. New York City, state of emergency. The ball games, the NBA games in the Meadowlands and the Garden have been canceled. That's the least of your worries. There is snow falling in the city at 3 to 4 inches per hour. And believe me, schools will be out probably much of the first half of the work week all across the northeastern corridor. I want to show you what's happening on the radar now. You can see the action moving up into Boston. We have snow falling in Boston. Southward, much heavier snowfall in Providence down into the New York City area. Again, in New York City, snow falling at the rate of 3 to 4 inches per hour. Philadelphia, incredible snowfall in the last 10 hours. About 20 inches has fallen in about a 10-hour period. Look at our snow back into Cincinnati and also around Indianapolis. Now, our rain-snow line, we're watching it very carefully. It's still around South Jersey and around Salisbury, Maryland, but earlier it had been inland. Now it's right about on the coast. And that tells us there's a low starting to form now around the Virginia Capes. That's going to wrap in much more in the way of moisture into the New York City area. So it looks like this system really getting wound up and really feasting on this Atlantic moisture, as that low pressure is still well south of New York City and still southeast of Washington, D.C. Jeff Morrow standing by in Washington. He's on the Mall in the Potomac River Valley. And Jeff, after a little bit of a lull, looks like a bit of a renaissance to your snow event.
Yeah, you could say that. The snow's starting to come back down here. We've got a lot of heavy, wet snowflakes starting to come down. Actually, I don't know how wet they are, but they're large. And the larger the snowflake, I guess the more moisture contact, the more humidity you have to feel that is in the air. But in any event, we're getting some more accumulating snow now. It's not piling up rapidly, but we are starting to get another coating on top of the 13 or 13.5 inches that we had a little bit earlier today. There were states of emergency. I think they're still in effect for Maryland and Virginia. Of course, as you mentioned, the heavier snow now up around Philadelphia and New York and moving up into southern New England. But we're not done with this storm here yet. We still have, we think, maybe a few more inches accumulation overnight. The winds will start to pick up as the storm moves by. We'll get some blowing and drifting. And indeed, most of the Washington area shut down for tomorrow for the start of the work and school week.
All right, Jeff Morrow reporting live from the Potomac Valley. Thank you very much in Washington, D.C. Let's show you the snow that has occurred. We have a tabulation of snowfall. It's incredible, folks. We've had reports of as much as 2.5 feet in the mountain areas in western North Carolina, around Boone, North Carolina. Philadelphia now upgrading 23 inches in Philadelphia. That's at the airport. We suspect up on the main line possibilities of 2 to 2.5 feet of snow. How about Lynchburg, Virginia, Roanoke, 21 inches, Dayton, Ohio, 14. Washington now, that's downtown at National Airport where Jeff is, 13 inches, but out towards Dulles and out by Frederick and Gaithersburg, closing in on 20 inches up in Montgomery County. How about Louisville, Kentucky, 10 inches, Greensboro, North Carolina, 9 inches of snowfall in the Triad area. I want to take you live now to New York City. Our own Jill Brown standing by. And Jill, this snow is incredible. Unfortunately, there's some snow on your video as well.
Well, yes, there's a lot of snow out through here. As a matter of fact, here on the Upper West Side off Central Park where we are, it seems that things have really come to almost a standstill. We don't see much traffic out here any longer. But as I mentioned last hour, the one thing that's been kind of nice is the temperatures actually come up today, up to about 22 degrees according to the bank clock behind us here. And now we're starting to get some snow pellets. We want to show you some of the snow that's here on the bench. We actually had benches here earlier. Now we think they're still under these snowdrifts. But you can see here the kind of snow that we have, which I guess that's, we're getting close to a foot, about 9, 10 inches, somewhere around there. And it continues to come down at the rate of about 2 inches per hour. Again, a few snow pellets mixed in as well. Almost everything closed, including the schools for tomorrow. If you don't need to go out tonight, the best thing to do would be just stay inside.
All right, Jill Brown, thank you very much. Again, a state of emergency in New York as well as the entire state of New Jersey. Traffic is at a standstill, and once again, if you're not expected to be out on the road, please do not venture on out. Let's show you that radar view, see what's going on. We mentioned how Washington, D.C. is seeing a pickup in snow in the past hour. There's the action on the radar heading up towards Baltimore and Philadelphia. A little bit of a break over by the Pine Barrens east of Philly, but New York City and on the island especially, very, very heavy snowfall rates of 3, 4, and maybe even 5 inches per hour. Some parallels now being drawn to the blizzard of February 11th and 12th of 1983, when some of these areas saw snowfall rates of, again, 5 inches per hour. Lots of snow out the Lehigh Valley, all the way out towards Harrisburg, the Amish country, back into Washington and Baltimore, Boston as well. Snowing now, especially down towards Plymouth and Duxbury, Providence, and over by Connecticut. Very heavy snow. There's your low around the Virginia Capes. The winds have now turned northwesterly around the Tidewater area, so the rain-snow line heading back to the coast. The heaviest of snow again from Long Island out through parts of Ohio, our legacy of our storm. It is a checkered one, locally 2 to 2.5 feet in the mountains of western North Carolina, a couple of feet conservatively in the Shenandoah National Park area southwest of Washington. And once again, I'm sure some of these major interstates may be shut for a couple of days, including Interstate 81 out of Harrisburg down through Stanton, right on down into the greater Roanoke area. One more picture of the satellite vantage point. This is the upper level low back over Ohio, Indiana, northeastern Kentucky. We pointed out because until that low passes to your east, snow will stay in your forecast. The upper level picture now showing the reds and the oranges. These are higher cloud tops. Our low feasting off of the Gulf Stream moisture. That should probably wrap in to bring even more significant snowfall in New York City before it's all said and done. It could be rivaling the incredible snowfall of Christmas week of 1947. We'll have more for you, including, believe it or not, another impending snow late in the week. Right now, let's turn it back to the studio.
Well, as we just saw, some areas in the east aren't out of the woods yet. Hi, I'm Christina Abernathy.
And I'm Mike Bono. As we've been reporting all day, more snow in the forecast tonight from the Middle Atlantic region to New England. This storm may bring back memories of a megastorm that hit the East Coast back in 1983. And they call it the megalopolis, or the megalopolitan storm. All the big cities in the megalopolis of the Northeast got hit hard out of this one. It was February 10th and 11th, 1983. I remember it well. I remember driving from skiing in northwest Massachusetts with no new snow into a blizzard on the way home. That's always kind of disheartening when you ski without the new snow and then you have to drive through it. But there it is, southern New England, all the way down on into the Appalachian Mountains. You had some incredible instances of snow. I remember JFK Airport with 22 inches out of that one. 35 inches, the highest total at Glengarry, West Virginia. 5 inches in an hour in Allentown and Hartford. This one came in like a wall that day in 1983, and this one did today, too. All-time snowfall records at Philly. Before today, Philly broke it, and Baltimore, Maryland, 22.8. Notice that Philadelphia number. They've now had 22.5 inches, 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts at Chatham, Massachusetts. The big roundhouse turn of low pressure. This is today's storm, maybe more memorable. It went further south. Atlanta got a couple of inches. You had snow down to Louisiana, the jet stream going way south, and a swath of snow that whitens even the deep south. The heaviest snowfall, that Washington to even down to North Carolina corridor with 2.5 feet of snow in the mountains of North Carolina and now in ski areas in West Virginia around Snowshoe. Expected totals, 20 to 24 inches Washington area. Philly, already there, Philadelphia. And New York City, 18 to 24. Baltimore, 20 to 24 inches. Now for the forecast.
Well, let's take a look back at the progression of our system here as we head back 48 hours. This is what we saw as it developed here in the southwest and moved on up and through the southeast and now headed off towards the northeast. We're looking at our upper low here just west of the Appalachians and then our actual surface low here off the mid-Atlantic coast. And you are still dealing with quite a swath of snow here and plenty of cloud cover and more action as we continue to watch this. And now we're going to take a look at where we think the storm is going to be as we head into tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Christina. And low pressure still on the map. It's still hanging around, and the slow movement, one of the contributors to this storm breaking some records. We've already had a record-breaking snowfall at Dayton, Lynchburg with over 19 inches, Philadelphia at the airport now over 22, and that should break that all-time record for Philly's airport, if not the town itself. Washington lagging a little behind, but New York, all-time record 26.5 inches, not too far off. Low pressure moving or skimming the coastline up south of Cape Cod, and we're going to have that snow continuing. Look what's happening in the middle of the nation, though. A warm front coming through with much milder weather as snow begins just west of there in the Rockies, and that'll be a factor by about Tuesday. But locally, 2 feet, even Long Island, northern New Jersey, don't be surprised, southern New England, as temperatures plummet tonight, to be sure. We're looking at temperatures tomorrow that'll be still cold and snowy in a lot of the Northeast. Notice the 80s showing up in the Southwest as those temperatures continue chilly in the Northeast.
Concern. We've had to evacuate a trailer park down in Mount Laurel, though, 125 people. That's where the National Guard helped us because the snow was so high it was backing up their exhaust systems for heating. We've had used the National Guard primarily along the coastal areas, though, to clear the roads, help get people who are stuck in ditches out, and to help supplement the plowing we're doing.
Have you yet had any reports of the expected coastal flooding?
We have not had reports of serious flooding yet. No, I haven't.
And what are they telling you about when this might let up and when people might be able to start commuting out in New Jersey and getting to work?
The state of emergency is in effect until at least noon. We don't anticipate the airport being able to open before then. NJ Transit buses are closed. The trains are trying to run, but they are also held up.